I feel like I always get a passage where Jesus is saying something absolutely brutal, and so we're going to look at Abraham today. So first, we're going to consider what Abraham shows us practically in our own lives, and then we'll consider how, in this passage, he's pointing towards the coming of Christ. So first, just practically, he's working God down from, if I can find 50 just men in the city, will you save it? And he's working down the numbers, so that it's almost absurd, the fact that he says, if I can find 10 people who aren't murderers and thieves, and if I can find 10 people, will you save this entire city? So it's actually kind of ridiculous to think of it that way. But what this shows us is that God really does care about the little things that we do in life. And so, even though we're living small lives just in this corner of the globe, the little things that we do in the morning do matter to God. Just blessing yourself when you wake up, or saying prayers before you go to bed, or praying before meals. These things matter to God. And Abraham, even when he's speaking to God, he prefaces it by saying, although I'm, just mere dust and ash, will you do these things for me? Even though I'm just, a little piece of filth, will you do these good things for me? And so that in one way that teaches us humility, because we're nothing without God, and yet it also teaches us that God actually cares about us and truly loves us. Second, we'll talk about how the passage points towards Christ. Because he begins with 50 people, and then he works it down to 45 people, and then it goes on and on. It's actually kind of funny how many iterations occur. So he keeps working down the numbers, and he goes to 30, then it goes to 20, and then it goes to 10, and then God says, for the sake of the 20, for the sake of the 10, I will not destroy it. And the Lord departed as soon as he finished speaking with Abraham. So it kind of cuts off quickly there, because Abraham doesn't get down to the one. He doesn't get down to, if there's just one just person in the city, will you not destroy it? Because this one person, this one just man, wherever Scripture speaks of one just man, it's always speaking of Christ. And so it's for the sake of the one just man that God will spare the city. In fact, he destroys Sodom and Gomorrah because Abraham doesn't find the 10, because Christ hasn't come yet. And so Abraham is suggesting, and even Christ tells us, that Abraham saw my day. Abraham knew about Jesus. So Abraham is suggesting to us that it's the coming of the Christ, it's Jesus, it's his justice that spares us from the wrath of God. And it's the goodness of Christ that makes our daily lives worth living, and that makes the things that we